Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode 96 of the Jose Burgos Podcast. I appreciate you guys as always. We're going to change the way we do introductions from here on out, but I won't get into that now because my next guest doesn't deserve for me to talk about all the maintenance I'm doing on the podcast and the things that are about to come. But I hope you guys are excited for what's about to come. My next guest is Justin Kamb, and I've known Justin for quite some time now, and he has been very influential in my life, more specifically in my fitness and health life. And I'll give you guys a little bit of information why. So a while back, maybe 2017, I'm terrible with dates, so don't quote me on that. I was introduced to a company called Gym Supplement Science, right? Because I was into working out. I was trying to lose a ton of weight because I was very obese. And a few of my buddies were like, hey, you need supplements. You need pre-workout. You need this, whatever. So I found Gym Supplement Science. And what I loved about the company was, you know, the owner, Jim Stepani, would always be on social media answering anybody who would have questions about how to take supplements, how to work out. And I don't mean like cliche social media manager type response. I'm talking about like the guy was on his phone, literally answering questions from thousands of people that were just like hounding him. So my next guest was very early on Gym Supplement Science, meaning that he also had a struggle with his health and with his life, which you'll hear on the podcast here. So it was pretty much an uphill climb for my next guest from the very beginning. He got introduced to the company, but the cool thing about him is that he got so engulfed with the information that Jim was providing that he was able to be up there answering questions with Jim. So whenever I asked a question, it would either be Jim that would respond or it would be Justin, my next guest, who would respond. And that was amazing in itself. So I started noticing that Justin was answering these questions sometimes much faster than Jim was. And it made me closer to Justin, right? So, I in different avenues, I reached out to him inside the gym army. He always gave me great advice. He was always humble about the advice. We even went on to play Madden a few times, a few matches of Madden. So we went outside the scope of health and fitness. But overall, my next guest is just a fantastic guy. He's had a hard life. But instead of being sour and turning that into a negative thing, he's managed to turn this into what he would say, the Hakuna Matata thing, right? Where it's like, no worries, right? He's always has a smile on his face. He's very straightforward with what he wants to do and how he wants to behave. He's a father first. I'm sure he would agree with that philosophy. So many things that I, over the years and currently can get from Justin, and I'm inspired for Justin. And thankfully, I'm grateful to be able to know Justin and be able to speak with him sometimes on a daily basis. So I think you guys are going to enjoy this conversation. Once again, guys, head over to spotlightcoalition.com. That's where you're going to find other creators, including Justin and his brother Jesse, who have just agreed to come on the coalition with their Wrestling with Opinions podcast, and that's going to be great. But this conversation here is going to be a lot. It's going to be, about the grind, about, how to keep a smile on your face, and health and fitness, and the proper way to run companies, which is, the client is always right and always thinking about the client. And my next guest knows all about that. So without further ado, I introduce to you guys the extremely powerful, the extremely motivating Justin Kamb. Okay, good to know. This view here, I like to fix gallery view. Perfect. I like to capture human nuance, brother. So we're just gonna wing it. Yeah. I got a few bullets here, but no preset questions, man. We're just gonna wing it. That's how I like to do it here on the podcast. Because I found out in the past, to be honest, that when I try to script stuff and I try to get too on point with it, I completely butcher the conversation.
Yeah, you're too worried about sticking to the script.
Exactly. But what happens is I'm so focused on the next question that I forget to listen to what the hell is going on. And I start to just spaz out. And
Dude, no, I'm with you. Organic is the best. Organic conversation.
Absolutely, man. Listen, Justin, for the listeners who are listening now, I'm so happy to have you on, man. Anybody who doesn't know, you, Jim, of course, and that whole foundation of a system completely transformed my life for the better. And you were a huge part of that. We could go on about Jim's education and all that, but honestly, what made me close to that brand was, you, which was you were just the average person that had at the time, no association, no benefit, nothing whatsoever besides just to prove to be able to help other people transform their lives. And I remember the very first time I reached out to you, probably on Twitter, and you answered back, and I was just like, holy crap. this dude is just an average dude who's willing to help me on this journey that he went on before me. So that's a long-winded answer to say I'm so hyped to have you on the show, man.
Oh, man, no, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I love this kind of stuff. I love being able to talk with everyone, and especially people like you who are like, man, thank you for helping me. Because like for me, yeah, it might be my career now, but like you said before, I just wanted to help people, So to transition that to my career, amazing, because now like everyone wants to get paid, right? The job's a job, right? But to be able to do what you love and help people and get paid for that, I mean, that's it. That's like the ultimate goal,
Yeah. I'm actually, before a few months ago, I would have said I can't really relate, but thankfully I just had a career change and I could relate 1,000%. I went from working at the job at 11 years, the 9 to 5, to being able to do something that I love to do. And do it as a job. So I feel you, brother.
That's awesome.
It's like a magical experience, man. I get to be home with my kids. I get to work on, I'm talking about Bitcoin in specific, but I get to help people with their Bitcoin, which is something I'm really passionate about. And yeah, man, I feel you, man. It's all what we need to get to, man. But
yeah,
from the very beginning with you, it's been about motivation, right? Like I've noticed your posts are motivating posts, your information is motivational, and everything you've ever given me is motivation. But naturally, I want to wonder is how do you stay so motivated?
It's out there in the pool right now. My son, man, people have different motivations, right? You want to do it for yourself. You want to do it because you have, goals. You want to be an actor or actress, whatever. You want to step on stage. And then there's people like myself. It's for the family. It's for my wife and my kid, like I want to be able to be running around with my grandchildren when I'm 70 years old. I want to be able to give my son things that I didn't have and to be healthy enough to see him enjoy them,
For sure. Yeah, that's one of those things that a lot of people don't think about. They put a lot of stock into, what they're going to do, or how they're going to prepare, right? How they're going to prepare their children, how they prepare their legacy.
Right.
But if you're not around long enough to enjoy the accumulation of this success, of this wealth, of this positivity, then what the hell is the point of it?
What's the point? Exactly, dude. That's it. Like that's it gets me with, I mean, I know we'll probably get there, but like with food too, right? When people are like, oh, I haven't had a bad meal in months. I'm like, why? What's the point? Why do you exercise then? Like, why wouldn't you enjoy it? You should have something.
I'm glad you bring that up because to me, you're the king of the cheat meal.
I know everyone says that.
Hey, listen, we got the track record to prove it. I'm not just saying it.
I know.
So, like, walk the listeners that don't know you or follow you, walk them through a classic Justin Kamb cheat meal.
All right. So we're gonna take, for instance, about 3 weeks from now, we have wrestling pay-per-view coming up. So what happens? My brother and I, we get together, we get food, right? I'll do like 8 slices of pizza, 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's, 6 donuts, and maybe. I don't know, a couple Reese cups or Kit Kat bars, whatever. And then I'll just eat like whatever my brother doesn't finish because he doesn't eat much, so like 10 of his wings or whatever my wife doesn't finish. And I'll eat that all within like an hour. And it just works for me, dude.
That's insane. I mean, you would be how I justify cheat meals. I was like, look, well, it's a bad idea, right? Because Justin probably works a gazillion times harder than I do. But I'm like, look, if Justin could bang out one of these cheat meals, I'm going to try to go toe for toe. It got me in a lot of trouble.
I always say it's a bad idea. I never, if my brother's training now and he's down like 40 pounds, he's a bigger guy, but he's doing great. And I always say, not like me. Don't cheat like me.
But it's, it's hard, especially when we came from being bigger in life. So It's like, I don't know about you, but I still have this, like, I don't know if I would have called it an addiction, but I have these spurts of like the 300-pound Jose, right? Like these moments where it's like, oh shit, I don't know what to do right now. I'm just going to start stuffing my face. Yeah. And I don't realize till after the fact. Do you have that as well?
Yeah.
Do you have that feeling?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So how do you work through that? I mean,
for me, it happens maybe once every few months. And I just chalk it up and move on. I mean, I know it's not the healthiest thing. It's obviously a problem, but yeah, I'm not as unhealthy as I was before. We train hard, we deserve it. And if it happens, I'm like, my big thing in life is no matter what it is, food, anything, you can't change it once it's happened. It's happened,
Yeah.
No matter what it is, it's happened. That's why you never see me, how you said you always post motivational stuff. I don't really post anything negative because it's my whole life motto. It's tattooed on my hands. Hakuna Matata, no worries. It happened. Move on. What are you going to do? You can't change it. You can't go back in time. You can learn from it and, move on. So Yeah, I know what you mean though. It happens. The
Yeah,
spurts.
yeah. I wish it would happen every few weeks for me. It's a little bit more occasional than that. But see, I think it's just a bad habit at this point. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with the food, more to, that whole like that trigger that wakes up this behavior that then just enables me to just go on this spurt of just eating. Sometimes it's emotional, right? Like a lot of changes are happening in life.
Yeah.
I'll give you an easy one. My wife and I are thinking of moving to Austin. So like, as somebody who's grown up in Massachusetts their whole life, like, this is huge. This is like, I'm nervous as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's the right thing to do. And then instead of like taking it out on my work, Jose's like, wow, well, let me go, grab a few donuts and grab some Chinese food and grab all this stuff.
I got a good example for you because it actually happened to me yesterday. We ordered some food because I was feeling a bit down. It's something very silly to feel down about, I'll admit it, but I've been at home with my son every day. I've been blessed with the job I have, been able to be with him every day. He's 6 years old. And when I have to travel, right, it kills me. I get anxiety. And most people love it. They're like, I'm traveling. This is great. You get a trip. I have to go to LA in a few weeks with Jim, and I have to do some shooting for ads and stuff. I hate it. I love it when I'm there. I love seeing everyone. I love everyone there, but I hate traveling. I hate being away from my son. So I ordered food and messed up. And I'm like, it happens, dude.
That actually makes me feel incredibly good. You don't even know. I have something similar. I have to go to Austin in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like every reason in the world to do it. I know once I'm there, it's going to be incredible. I'm going to meet a bunch of new people at network.
Exactly.
But I'm like, fuck, man. I don't want to do this shit.
Yes. That's my wife's like, you're going to have fun when you're there. Stop, relax. I'm like, it's fucking driving me nuts. Like,
yeah. That's really interesting. I'm glad the listeners get a peek at this because, we're all normal people.
We're all people, yeah.
Yeah, but in the situation, and I know we tend to put people on pedestals and all that, but once again, like I reached out to you very earlier, and you are on a higher pedestal for me, not because I think you're like a superhero, which I do think you are, by the way.
I appreciate that, man.
But the fact of the matter that I've learned so many things from you, and in a way that didn't require for me to buy into anything, right? I didn't have to buy into like the Justin Kamb system of things or you should do this. It was just like, this guy, I have to put you in a pedestal because the information I got with you was never tainted. It was always pure, legit, and it always actually helped me improve myself. So it's one of those things. But when I hear you, the guy that I've gotten all this information, say, hey, Jose, man, I'm going through that same exact shit. That's humbling. And I think anybody listening right now should kind of think about those things when they think about their heroes or the people they look up to.
You know what? It's like the same thing with Jim and I, right? He's up here for me, He's like a superhero to me. But we're actually really close, we have a really good relationship. And sometimes things we talk about, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I would have never known, like. Yeah. Because it's just like you think that person's just fine all the time, Not saying Jim's not, but I'm just saying anyone, like you said with me, you don't know. You hold that person in such high regard. And you only learn so much about someone through Instagram, right? Seeing the posts and stuff. Like you said, it's always motivational. So it's like, oh, this guy, someone like you might be like, oh, this guy's always in a good mood. We all have our days,
Yeah. And that's the delusion of social media, man. We all get. That's one thing that's always been a weakness to me. I can't do social media well.
It's my job, social media. We'll get there. But for me, it's like I have people that don't like me. Let's face it. I know that. And I have people that love me. And for me, it's social media. Like, I don't care about the people that don't like me. I don't know who they are. I said I have people who don't like me. I couldn't name them. I know they're out there because I don't care, Yeah. That's what people need to start focusing on social media, right? I wish more people would focus on that. Like when someone makes a negative comment on your post, right? Something Jim taught me. That person came to your post and made that comment. You have no idea who they are. So who's the loser, right?
Good point. Yeah, they take that energy to be able to go out and put some hate out in the world. Yeah, that's awesome.
Or if someone's, behind your back, I can't believe Jose's doing it or Justin's doing it. Okay. Well, if you're not going to say it to my face, then I don't care. We have no problem. Like, I don't
exactly.
care.
Yeah. And most will not say it to your face. It's
never.
This bubble of like, I could say whatever I want behind the keyboard to get away with it.
I would break their heart if anyone said anything bad about me to my face because I would look them dead in the eye and say, I don't care.
Yeah.
Did you want a reaction? I don't care.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want. They want to stoke a reaction, especially after a year like last year. That's what everybody wants to do now.
Yeah, this past year's been hell, right?
Yeah, how did it go for you, man? I mean, let's get to that. How was COVID overall, family wise, business wise?
Much didn't change family wise because I've always worked from home pretty much.
Okay.
And aside from my brothers and a couple close friends, I don't really talk to too many people. I'm a very small circle type of guy. I don't trust very many people. It's the way I am. Just because of the way I grew up, And I know we might touch on that. My story.
Yeah.
But no, it's been fine. The past year was like no change for me in that regard. Business wise, yeah, every business had a certain level of, this pays cut or you got to do this for a little bit, which is normal, and I was fine. Sure. I was fine with that. One thing about Jim, JYM, the company, it's like a family, dude. You're always taken care of, you're never left out to dry. You don't have to worry.
Yeah, that was a huge part of the of my success, being able to go through the programs and go through it every day. Grinding it is family, the gym army, the gym family. I've shied away since, but that's such a great community, man.
But if you come back, it just picks right up where it left off, man.
Which I need to, and I definitely plan. My problem is the gym army is Facebook. I mean, I know you can find the gym army elsewhere, but I hate Facebook.
I know. It's
maybe
we should start an Instagram page. I mean,
we might want to. It sounds like a cop out, I know, because it's like, look, put your blinders on, go onto Facebook.
I get 100% what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just when a company is divisive enough to like build a tool to kind of steal your life from you. Yeah. It's very weird to me. And I've tried to go back, man. And it's just, even in business, I tried to do marketing before and, they banned a bunch of my accounts and, it was for like the dumbest reasons ever. And then I was the small guy getting canceled. I mean, this is before like Trump canceled and all that canceled.
Right.
And I couldn't even provide for my family because Facebook was the arbiter of truth, apparently, and were kicking me out.
Social media.
Boy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. Social media is a funny place, man. It's a funny place.
But then the double-edged sword is that you miss out on beautiful things like the gym army.
Yeah, and the thing is, like I said, it's like a family. So, like, what I mean by, and some people say, "Oh, it's a cult. It's a sheep. They all follow Jim." JYM. I get it. I get what you're seeing from the outside. I get it, but you don't know what it's like to be on the inside. You're not in the meetings. I'm in the meetings with Jim and Mike and all these. They care, dude. Like they care about the people are always first. The consumer is always first. It's always how it's been. Like if you told Jim or I or anyone in this company, well, I can't afford the supplements, can't afford the programs, not doing it. What can I do? Someone's going to give you an answer on what to do. No one's going to be like, oh, well, then, fuck you. Then get out of here. No.
Absolutely. And the real answer, too. It's never like a devious answer like another. Yeah, no. To this day, I still have my gym products and I'm still drinking my free
right now myself.
Yeah. I got the pink lemonade. I like more of the newer flavors. But anyways, my point is that to this day, even if I may not be 100% in fitness like I should be, I always tell people that ask, and I always recommend gym products. And then people will say the same thing. Well, that's just, you're hooked on it like Apple products and all that. And I'm like, no. From the very beginning, from like exclusive bodybuilding.com days to like that, when the protein was coming in bags and not inside the canisters.
Yeah.
Yes. Since early, you were able to reach out to either Jim or Mike, and they would always just reach back out and be honest with their time. Now, mind you, Jim could have been doing a gazillion other freaking things, and he probably was doing a gazillion other freaking things. But you could tell that he didn't have somebody running his social media.
No, even when I'm with him now and you see him, he's over there. He's like this. He's like this.
Insane.
And you're like, how? Where's the time, dude? And
that's why
he doesn't sleep, dude. He's a vampire. He just...
But that shows me as an owner, right? Like I know about marketing and I know about front-facing owners and I know about this stuff. Jim is because you're in the meetings with him, but he is 1,000% Jim.
All the time.
Like I talk about Jim like to my friends and my peers and my wife, like if I knew him
like
for
you,
life.
Like your friend, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. No, Jim said that I have to do it this way and this way. So I can see where you think people may think it's a cult, but
I know. Sometimes even my own wife, she's like, oh, I know you're going to say Jim said, but hold on. I'm like, yeah, but listen.
But you have to value those, what I call signal, right? Jim is a lot of signal in a world, which fitness is, that's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a lot of like, do this and get, lose weight quick and get this product to match with this product or whatever. And it just feels like one big funnel. And with Jim is like, oh no, you could go balls deep and get everything, or we could start from the very small thing and I could walk you through it and give you the education and respond to your tweets and your questions. I've never seen another business owner like it. And that's why I still use Gym Supplement Science, because the man's educated. He knows when to walk something back if it doesn't make any sense, right? Like if that didn't make sense, but he's done his homework, and you got to respect that type of signal knowledge in this world.
Yeah, and I'm just a sponge, man. You know, I'm just trying to soak up everything he teaches me.
Yeah,
try to replicate it to the world, you know, because he can only reach so far, right? Like he's one person.
Yeah, and you do a great job, because that was my connection. Let's go back to your story, man. Let's go from the very beginning, because to me, once again, it's cool to see Jim. And you know, Jim is, you know, shredded and he's this and all that. But you need to relate to somebody in order for it to make sense. And then when you immediately shift over and you see Justin, who's just an average dude like I am, and that system that Jim is telling me works, he's showing me that it works. Justin is. That makes me latch on even faster, because it's, you know, it's an experience. I can see somebody normal doing it and not just a celebrity. But let's go through your story. Let the listeners know your story from beginning. From
beginning of fitness, or
sure, like that interaction where you know, fitness and then gym, that whole ramp up.
All right, so my wife and I, we've been together for almost 15 years now, but back when we met each other, you know, you get comfortable, you're in a relationship, you start packing on the pounds, right? Excuse me. You're watching movies, you got Netflix, you're eating. And I just got really heavy, man. I was like 303 pounds. We both got pretty heavy. My mother-in-law, she's actually was in her 50s, and she just started running. She was really big. She actually lost over 100 pounds herself. And she started running. Her weight's just falling off. And I'm like, this lady's 50 years old, and she gets up off her ass every morning and runs. And I'm in my 20s, and I'm just being a lazy piece of shit, you know, making excuses on why I'm fat, you know? Right. I'm very raw, very real. Some people in real life, like here that know me, they don't like me because I always say it like it is. I have no filter. Yeah. Like if you're like being an asshole, I'll be like, shut up, you're being an asshole. I don't care. Like
that's needed.
Yeah, that's me, man. It's bad, but it can also be great because some people really appreciate it. But yeah, I was like, you know, if she's doing this, why can't I? So I started running with her a bit, and I dropped like 20 pounds, 30 pounds, something like that. And then it started going back up a little bit because running just wasn't my thing. You know, it was fun seeing the weight come off. And then I found Jim on I went home, rewind. I went to Planet Fitness with her. She said, come to the gym with me. I said, I don't know. People are going to make fun of me. You know, I'm fat. I don't know anything I'm doing. And I saw this guy there. You mind if I let my dog out real quick?
Nah, bro.
Sorry, dude. He's yes. Sorry. So I saw this guy there I went to high school with, Justin. His name's Justin as well, Justin Cole. And he's like, he's over there just banging stuff out. And he's like huge now. He's really skinny in high school. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, is that Justin? Went over, started talking to him. He's like, man, I'll show you a couple things. And he showed me like the basic, you know, this is a bench press. This is this. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is really like, I like the way this feels when I'm done. You know, I'm all feeling pumped. I'm like, you know, I'm still fat, but I feel like I'm this lean, shredded Arnold Schwarzenegger guy. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like The Rock right now. Yeah. Like, you know, see, and my buddy's like, you got to get some supplements, dude. You got to do it. So I'm like, I was like, what do you recommend? And he was like, C4, this and that. I'm like, I was like, I don't know. I was like, let me do my own thing. So I took some stuff he recommended. It was shit. It was really bad. My heart was jacked up and this and that. And then I'm on bodybuilding.com one day way back in, 8 years ago. And then boom, there's this guy. He's bald. He's tattooed. I'm obviously tattooed. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, this guy looks cool. I'm like, let me read about him. And I'm like reading his statement. And it was the pre-gym. And I was like, I'm going to try this stuff. I bought it, tried it. I was like, this is phenomenal. Followed Jim on social media. And he's like, I have these workout programs. And I'm like, okay. Started doing the workout programs. Started with this one called Hit 100s. Mm-hmm. Fat just started coming off. It's coming off. It's falling off. I did that one. I did Super Shredded 8 after that. I just went down the list. And I still do them to this day. But I just went down the list. And before you know it, I'm down 103 pounds. And
shit.
Yeah, months. It took me about a year and a half. I had a trial and error, find out what worked for me, diet wise, which we can talk about diet later if you want or whatever. But I had to find out what works for me. Because I feel that's everyone's biggest struggle, right? Diet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I was like, people like you were seeing this because Jim was putting it out there, and people just started hitting me up. Like, how did you do that? What did you do, dude? You were fat and now you're really shredded. Like, help me. So I was like, you know what? I was like, Jim's only one guy. Let me hop on this Facebook that he's on. At the time, all he had was Facebook. Really, that was like really popping. So let me hop on there and just answer some of these before him to try and help out, right? I would never like answer as if I'm Jim or I know better. But I'm like you said, I'm relatable. I'm like, I did it. Let me just say what I did. So I started helping people. And one day I get this email. I have no idea how he got my email. It was Mike. And he's like, man, he was like, I want to call you. I want to talk to you. He was like, what you're doing is amazing. Like, he's like, you are on there helping people every day. Now, luckily for me, my job at the time, I worked at this place called Elwyn. I took care of a individual who had like schizophrenia, things like that. But I was hired by a company, or I was hired by his parents in my company. It was private. So it was just he and I. Okay. And sadly, his medication, I mean, it sucks, but his medication, he would sleep all day, right? Okay. And so I had time to be, as long as the house was clean, I had time to be on the internet, watching TV, whatever. And I was like, well, let me just help people out. And that's how I was able to do it. And I was hitting it for like 6 hours a day, dude, just helping people.
Yeah, man. Like, I remember.
And Jim's just like, how does this fucking guy answer before me? Because Jim always, like, his first priority is answer people back. So he's like, how's this guy answering before me?
And answering correctly.
And correctly.
It sounded, it sounded like it was coming right from Jim.
Well, because I'm like, dude, listen, when I studied his website up and down, in and out, and I hate school. I hate studying, but it's just something about Jim that drew me in. And I was like, this is my Bible. I'm going to know everything on this site. Even now, like, if you're like, what can I do for this? I could get you a link in 2 seconds.
Did you figure out what that something was from Jim? Like, what is it about Jim that does that?
Dude, I don't know. I still don't know. Like, we're very close, Jim and I. And it's like, I don't take it for granted at all, because my family life sucked. So I do consider him family. And it's something, I don't know what it is about him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like mystical. It's incredible.
I don't know. Yeah, it was like he changed my life,
Right.
Physically, mentally, financially, eventually. He changed my entire life. I mean, and he cares.
Right.
And so like I got that email, right, from Mike.
From Mike, okay. Shout out to Mike, by the way.
Yeah, Mike's great too. Same thing. Changed my life physically, mentally. And Mike said, I want to give you a buzz, call you. I'm like, okay, cool. He's, I'm like, I don't know what for. Maybe he wants to send me like a pre-gym or something to say thank you. Because I said, I want to thank you. So he calls me up and he's like, we want to fly you out to Vegas for the Mr. Olympia to meet Jim for everything you've done. And I'm like, dude, I'm like starting to tear up. I'm a very, very emotional guy. Like, it's bad. Like, something sad happens in a TV show, I'm crying.
You cry?
Yeah. And people see me like, you work out, you got all these tattoos. No way this dude cries. No, he eats nails. He doesn't cry. I'm like, no, I'm a big baby. I'm a huge baby.
It's all good.
I'm crying.
You gotta release it.
So I was really upset in a good way. And I'm like, yeah, that would be amazing. Like, I didn't want, but I was like, my wife though, I said, my wife's 9 months pregnant. Like, she might pop. So I said, I really don't know if I can, but I really don't want to miss this opportunity. Dude, my wife is one of the most supportive people in the entire, like, I wouldn't be where I am without her. No, I know a lot of people say that, but I truly wouldn't be. So I said, can I call you back? Let me tell my wife what's going on. I was like, maybe we can reschedule it. I don't know. I get off the phone. I told my wife, and in seconds she said, you have to go. And I'm like, you're like about to be, she said, my mom will take me if something happens. You have to go. She said, this could change your life. You don't know. And I'm like, she's like, this guy's your hero. You have to go. You never know. Well, guess what? If I didn't go on that trip, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't be where I am today with Jim.
That's true, man. That's true. That is incredible.
I went out there. Yes. I went out there and like, there he was, Mike. I met Mike, which was great. Mike, I didn't really know. Mike wasn't out there at the time. There was no Facebook Gym Army, so no one knew Mike. He does a lot behind the scenes for the business, but no one really knew who he was, right?
Okay.
So he said, I'm Jim's business partner. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Because I didn't know. I didn't know he had a business partner. But then you see, he's like, here's Jim. He takes me up to the booth. I cut in front of everyone in line. And I'm like shaking. Because there he is, dude. Like a guy that your entire life, you idolize this guy. And there he is. He's standing inches from you. So I like go through the thing. I'm about to like shake his hand. He gives me a hug. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is nuts.
Mind blown.
Yeah, like mind blown. I spent the whole weekend with them. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. And then shortly after, it was, Jim was like, he's like, you're really good at the social media thing, He's like, now look, I answer my own stuff. It's always going to be that way. No one can answer like me. But if you can help me out on social media a little bit with certain things, like, just watching what's going on, getting the right information, maybe what video because I know what people are talking about, right? I see the Gym Army a lot. Maybe what people need help with or your experiences. I could bring you on part-time. Would you like that? And I'm like, oh, yes. Like, this is my dream is to help people and work for you. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And I went on part-time, literally maybe a month, 2 months after. He says, would you come on full-time? Would you do it for X amount? And I was like, done. You don't even done.
Yeah. Don't worry about the amount.
Put in my 2 weeks at my other job, done. And
that's incredible. How long has it been since then? Since it was official?
I think I've been working there for about 6.5, 7 years now. About 6.5 probably.
Nice, man.
See, the thing is, like you said, right? It's like everyone, you just push it because you work for them. You just push it and I'm like, I made this full change in my life before I worked for them. Like, that was a benefit of the change, of changing my life. So I'm telling you guys, like, I'm saying what I'm telling you guys to say that is like, change your life. Maybe something good will happen, Like,
absolutely, yeah.
It didn't happen. I'm not pushing it on you because I want you to buy it because I make $1. I don't get commission. It doesn't work like that. It's not that kind of company. I want you to do it because it changed my entire life, and I want you to have that feeling at some capacity,
Right, and do your own homework in the sense that it's like, look, you don't have to take my word for it. Go to the hundreds of thousands of Gym Army members that have done the same. Go through, every single one of Jim's articles has a reference to the source material at the bottom of it. Go do your own homework. Go do your own due diligence. That's what I tell people.
And the results, like.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say any names of companies, but I just saw another company post 90-day transformations like 2 days ago. They sucked. Not the people. And no, it's not the people's fault that we're doing it because they're doing what they're told. And I can only imagine these people are being told, you have to eat chicken and broccoli every day. And you have to, I don't even eat chicken. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
But and you have to do this workout every day. And I guarantee they gave all them individuals the same workout, the same food. And the results sucked. And I'm looking at it like, no wonder they say all our transformations are fake. Because when people transform a gym, it's like, holy shit, this guy's on steroids. That's it.
And there's nobody that in those companies that's going to take the bullet. If they suck ass, who do you go after?
Who do you go after? And these people were trained in person. That's what killed me.
Yeah.
Because you imagine having gym in person, like how your results would be? Insane.
Right, exactly. And it kind of feels like having Jim in person anyways with so much information and the videos he has out there.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that he was saying, early on too, with the proprietary blends and all that bull crap, you're starting to slowly see these companies now change their recipes to try to. So it's like maybe people that are, noticing Jim JYM now don't see that.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same as.
Now that's the thing. Yeah. People will be like, Jim, like the OGs, right? They'll be like, Jim, you used to educate. What's going on? You're not talking about blends and stuff anymore. No, because he already changed the game. Like people aren't doing that anymore. Like,
yeah. And like you said, he doesn't necessarily want you to buy his stuff. You can go buy, as long as it's the same blend and the same ingredients at the same dose. Jim has always said, hey, go get it.
Yeah. He's never been like that. Yeah. And it's like,
that's amazing, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what if you could, sum up maybe a few lines or one exact lesson, what have you learned from either JYM or Jim himself in the years that you spent with them? It doesn't matter which one you want to answer for. The biggest thing you've taken away from being associated with that whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be Jim specifically. It could be the brand. It could be whatever.
I think the biggest takeaway that I've learned, the biggest life lesson I've learned is probably, there's two of them, right? Do the right thing. It's a big slogan in our business, always do what's right. There's no need to, and be transparent. There's no need to lie. People like the truth, It's like, if we're running out of a product, we don't sit there and say, this is why, because of this. No, we say we're running out because there's a shortage in the world of this supplement. Sorry. Like, and people love that. So I think be transparent, do the right thing. And if you have, so I guess three things, some of them three. If you have the ability if you have a passion, make it your career. You can do it. You can. There's no There's no way you can't. I don't care what it is. You can do it. You can.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Well, there's a will, there's a way, I guess is what they say.
We all need a little luck. I get it. I got lucky.
Yeah.
But I also busted my ass. But I wasn't looking for anything. That's the big part. And I think that's why I got lucky. When I hopped on there, started helping people, I wasn't looking for a job. I didn't care. I don't want a job. I just wanted to help people. And then here we are, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if you felt this, but like when my whole big change happened in a few months, I felt this whole thing where it was like a pendulum, right? Where it was like one minute I would feel, there's a lot of luck involved here. How the hell did this happen? What the hell did I do?
Yeah.
And then the pendulum would swing to the other side, which is like, well, I busted my fucking ass to get these results.
Yeah.
I busted my ass to get this opportunity.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that pendulum, or are you pretty set on I busted my ass?
No, I know there's luck involved. I think I'm just pretty balanced with it. I know that there's luck, but I also know that it wasn't magic. I'm a grinder, dude. I'm not someone that sits around and waits for things to come to them. I'm going after what I want.
Has that always been you very early on, or there's some, a rough early life? How did you get that grind?
When I had a kid, that's when yeah. If I had that grind all my life, man, I bet you I'd be like an actor right now. That was always a dream of mine. For real, that was always a dream of mine, is to be an actor. And I always wanted to be an actor or a zoologist. That was my my two life goals. But I just didn't have much drive. And I had a kid, and I was like, look, I grew up, I mean, I'll touch on it lightly, but I grew up very poor, like very poor. We had to steal most of our meals, same meals every night, most of the time, and sometimes we didn't eat at all. I slept on a floor in a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 brothers and parents that were drug addicts that physically abused us every hour, every day. I mean, there was times when we had to lie to CYS and stuff. I mean, one time my dad, he's passed away now, sadly, from a drug overdose, but he took a candle, smashed it over my head. I'm just bleeding everywhere. And he looks me dead in the eye and says, take you to the hospital to get that fixed. But if you tell them I did that, they're going to take you from your brothers. And I'm like, okay.
Oh boy.
So, I had to lie because I'm like, my brothers and I aren't like normal people with their brothers. My brothers and I are like this,
Nice.
My one brother's 19. I brought him here to live with me when he was 16. I took him from my mom, took custody. He's here. He's still here.
Nice, man.
And my other brother, I try and help him as much as I can. We do the podcast thing together. We're really tight. But sorry, where was I at though? Oh yeah, so we grew up very poor, and then I had a son. And when I looked at my son when he was a baby, I'm like, you'll never live like that. Like, you'll never have to deal with that. I would never, even now when I look, I mean, me and my son are so close. I'm like, I don't understand how a parent could ever even smack their kid in the face or anything, let alone something that happened to us. I'm like, how? They're so innocent,
Right. And
I was, but right when I had him, I was like, this is it. I'm going to do everything I can to give you whatever you want. And people tell me now, like my mother-in-law and stuff, some people, I know they're just, pulling my tail or whatever. And sometimes they might be serious, but like, oh, he's so spoiled. He gets whatever he wants. He gets something every time I say, and he still will. Because one, my son has very good manners. He's not a brat. He doesn't act like he deserves things. He's a good kid. And I said, 2, I didn't have any of this. So if I feel like he wants something or he likes it, and he doesn't ask for it, I'm still getting it for him.
That's super powerful, man.
Yeah. So it's my son. Yeah, he's the one that made me grind.
Yeah. Now, is it far-fetched saying that if you didn't grow up the way you did, things would be differently? Or you think you still would be the same old dad, even with your...
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Because when you grow up like that, there's 2 roads you can take, right? You can be a product of your environment, start doing drugs, live a bad life, do bad things. Or you can take the road. All my brothers and I are all successful. My one brother's in school to be a nurse practitioner. He's, works really hard, whatever. My other brother, he's going to be an electrician. He just got into college, the one that lives with me. And then there's me, of course I got lucky with my job. So I tell them, I'm like, nah, don't look at me as an example in a sense, because, they're like, oh, you get to work from home. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not the best example. But I think growing up like that gives you a certain drive that you have to unlock. And it unlocked when I had my son. But, also when I was about 17, my godparents, they I don't know if you remember from my story, but they took me from my parents. My mother was in jail. My father said, I don't have anywhere for him to go. So I don't know what he's going to do. So I was going to be homeless. He's like, I don't know what he's going to do. And my godparents said, no. Why didn't you tell us sooner? He can come stay with us. man, that was a whole different. I moved in when my god brother was 1 year old. He's 17 now, and we're like this. I mean, I love him to death. I consider him my blood brother. I'd do anything for him. And I consider them my parents. I refer to them as mom and dad because they brought me, they took me in and they taught me what it is to be like family, like this is what happens. This is consequences. This is actions, reactions. These are chores, responsibilities. This is love. My godparents always hug me. I love you. Still do to this day, And
it's powerful.
Yeah. And it's like the things they taught me, I teach my son things I'll carry in life forever. I mean, one time I remember my godfather, and I was bitching him out back then. Now I understand. He used to have this trailer, right? And he'd say, fill it up with all that aluminum. He would collect aluminum, trade it in. You make a chunk of money off that. He's like, fill it all up. And I was like, okay, filled it all up. He came back from wherever he was at, and he's like, what's going on? There's still half a pile there. I'm like, it didn't fit. He said, oh, no, it'll fit. Made me take the whole thing out and refill it again until it fit. And when I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Da, da, da. And now I'm like, oh my God, like that taught me a very good life lesson that like, there's always a way. You just got to figure it out. And
for sure.
Yeah, they taught me so much. They still do. So.
Yeah, this whole, I don't know where I got this from, but I heard it somewhere where it's like, you don't get to choose who your parents are, but you get to choose who you learn from.
Okay, I like that.
It kind of sounds like that idea is what you went through. But, about the question about do you think things would be different now? I just always wonder, like, sometimes people sit in the sidelines and wonder, like, damn, how could that guy, grind so hard or be so damn passionate or be... But what they don't realize is that, like you said, you've already unlocked something that, a character trait that was put into you.
It's in you. It's in everyone.
Yeah.
You just, I feel like it's in everyone. You just there's something that's going to unlock it. It's different for everyone, Maybe it's a near-death experience. Maybe it's,
True. You think it's much harder for the more privileged people, though, to unlock that?
I feel like it depends on the individual, how they are. Because I know some people that have grown up very, handed everything. I mean, look, I'm not ashamed to say, look at my son, I know he's only 6, but, I've handed him everything and I'm going, I'm going to do that. But I think if the individual learns that you have to do this to earn that, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are, you'll still be able, you still have that certain level of respect for things.
Yeah. That makes sense. And the role model, you're a perfect role model too. So
hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I say that because it would be another thing to be privileged and you never see dad because he's flying around the world to Tokyo and doing a bunch of stuff.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Gotcha. And here you are grinding in front of him, plus giving him everything that you've never had.
And, awesome. And the love, you gotta show your kids love. I mean, it may feel like it's too much, but it's not, dude. I'm telling you, as a kid who had none when he was that little, that it's not too much. I mean, whenever I'm done talking to my brothers, I say, I love you. I don't care. Like, I'll say in front of anyone, I love you. Give him a hug. Yeah. My son, I'd probably hug him and kiss him, 1,000 times a day. But it's important.
And kids are they're not hard to please, right?
No.
Like the smallest things, just hanging out with them, gives them a trip. Like my daughter would wake me up now that I've been working from home. My daughter basically wakes me up and says, hey, we're going to go to the basketball court just to shoot around and stuff. Now, the other day I was kind of tripping out, not crying or anything, but I was tripping out because we were at the basketball park and it was about 8:15 in the morning. And I'm like, shit, a few weeks ago, I would have been sitting in the fucking office at work, melting away like an ice cube, not being able to have these moments with my child.
Yeah.
And that moment, which is priceless, just to have it is just one of those things. And my daughter was happy with it. It was free. I didn't have to pay to entertain her like some people think. I didn't have to buy her something. All I had to do was go to the park with her and just shoot around the basketball for a little bit.
Just spend time with her. That's it.
It was insane, man.
I get it. Like some people have to work. I get it. Like it's not. You can't work from home. Not everyone can. I get that, but just make the time, for your kid, because it goes a long way in the future.
Yeah, or set your goals up to eventually work from home.
Yeah,
I mean, what we learned from last year's, year of COVID or whatever is that that whole vibe of having to walk into a building, punch into a clock, spend 40 hours there with people that you probably don't like or don't do anything better for your life because they're miserable. That whole shit is in the past. We can work from home. Yeah. I do understand because I was recently just there, and I'm not ungrateful that people do have to work to pay bills.
Yeah.
But if you can find a way to escape that and, get the autonomy to be home, even if you have to kill for that feeling,
Yeah.
I'm not going back.
Yeah. Oh, diary. So, God forbid anything ever happened with Jim, you never know. You never know. I'll never go back to like a 9 to 5 sitting. No, I'll find a way. I'll grind. I'll do something.
Yeah, man. We have to, but that's another thing that we've kind of been like, blanketed over our face to kind of believe, which is that you have to go 9 to 5 and you have to live in debt and this whole system. And, I'm a little bit further down that hole than most just because I've gone down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, right? So the monetary system and stuff. But, I could give you hours of why I feel hateful about the monetary system and what the Fed has been doing to people like you and I. But the one line that I keep thinking over and over in my head is I watch my dad. He's about close to 60, 59. I watch him like kind of limping around with his knee and not be able to retire in the way that I feel he should be retired. And the one thing that pisses me off is, God damn it, they stole his life from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been nothing but a hard worker since the day he's come to this country.
Yeah.
And all they've been able to do is just steal away his energy, steal away his life by, a bunch of shit, taxes, and the system of debt where you got to buy a house and you got to continue to work.
Always
debt. And it's fucking crazy, man.
They always want you in debt. Yeah.
So can't go back to that whole way of life. But just to kind of, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just think that I agree. Like, I feel like not that COVID was good, but one good lesson we learned from it is most people can work from home. My wife's a payroll manager for Elwyn. And every day she would have to go to that administration building. And she's been working from home for the last year and a half, doing just as good. She's gotten a raise. I mean, and they're like, there's no point in you coming back. And she said, I know. I have everything I need right here.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, but hopefully that can happen to people because even if you are working for a company, if you do it from home, you still get the autonomy, and that's priceless, in my opinion. So I hope people listening don't think I'm saying just boycott your job.
No.
Go get some money, but try to do it from home.
They're going to be coming to us. All right, you guys owe us a job.
Oh, man, it's crazy. I do want to ask one more thing about COVID because, you're obviously work for a company that's health focused. Where did you fall in the line, and you can speak for just Justin yourself and not, JYM, between the whole run to get vaccinated or, hey, do the hard thing and work on your immune system, that argument that was happening on social media? Where did you fall on that one?
I think it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to word it without someone getting the wrong idea.
I know. You may not be able to word it in any way. There's always going to be somebody offended.
We just live in a day and age where everything offends people. If I'm like, this shaker's black, they're like, oh, I can't believe you said black. I'm like, no, this shaker's black. Like, and this is how the world is right now. And I get it, but all right, I'm not vaccinated.
Me neither.
I had COVID. I got it. My whole house got. I lost my taste, lost my smell. It sucked. Actually, I was coming off peak week from a challenge I did, which is basically, you deplete all your salt water or whatever to look really shredded. And
oh shit.
Yeah. And I went to bite into a sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin thinking like, this is it. I haven't cheated in 6 weeks and I couldn't taste it. And I was like, what the fuck? and my brother the next day was like, oh, so my girlfriend has COVID. And I'm like, oh, I was ready to choke him. I'm like, because we were taking precautions. It's not that we didn't take it serious.
Sure.
But I think it's just a personal choice, right? If you believe that my brother's vaccinated. If you believe you need to get vaccinated, then sure. Whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But, if I don't want to, you don't have to attack me. It's just, So, is that kind of like what you're saying? Like, I get what you're saying with the immune system. Like, I think,
like I just think we didn't get enough of that information, right?
Okay,
and then in the beginning, when we thought body bags were going to be all over the place, because that's what they told us in the beginning. This thing was going to wipe out the population.
Right.
After a while, I worked in the hospital at the time, so I started to notice this thing where it was like, wow, they really want you to do shit that's out of your control, but they don't want you to do the obvious shit, which is work on yourself.
Well, that's the problem with doctors in general. I feel like, dude, like I went to a doctor when I was heavier and he's like, you should try this diet. You're kind of heavy. It was like all carbohydrates, no protein. And I'm like, okay, because he's a doctor, right? But now that I look back, I'm like, you don't fucking know shit. That's why you were a fat doctor. Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Regardless if you're getting the vaccine or not, the government should be, in my opinion, educating you on proper health. You should be exercising. Right. You should be taking vitamins to support your immune system. Even if you have, pretend COVID wasn't even here, they should still be telling us.
Bingo. Yeah.
But they won't, I don't know. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like they want you to be sick, right? Because they want.
Yeah. I don't think that's a conspiracy at all.
Some doctors, they want you to be sick. They write you a prescription, they get a paycheck. I mean, that's just my, opinion, but.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was surprised, but the vaccine question, along with the immune system question, goes into that because a lot of people got the vaccine because of fear of getting COVID, which you can get COVID with the vaccine. Very ironic,
yes.
But the thing of being is nobody ever thought about the one that's been built into us that can prevent us from getting it. Like nobody ever was like, yo, I'm about to just fire up my immune system and beat the shit out of this thing. Everybody instead, some even as far as the vaccination, were just like, hey, I'm still going to be 300 pounds. I'm still going to stuff my face with donuts every day or whatever.
Yes.
I hate picking on donuts, by the way.
I love donuts too, but
you're
right,
it's just an easy example.
I don't.
But a lot of people just said, hey, let me get the vaccine instead of doing the due diligence to say, hey, I have this built-in vaccine that will stop me from getting this shit,
I mean, I'll tell you, I feel like it's like, how people say like, oh, it's a disease. You're obese. It's a disease. See, again, I'm very raw. I'm very real. I say, no, it's not. No, it's not. Just like when people say drug addiction is a disease, I say, no, it's not. And they say, oh, you're sick. And I say, my dad had a heroin overdose. And I'm still telling you, no, it's not. You choose to put that in your body. Just like food, you choose to put that in your body,
Absolutely.
Things like COVID, obviously we can't control. You contract it, you can't control it. But the government, no one said anything about being obese. No one says anything about that. That's not a pandemic, right? Yes, it is. People are dying at 40 years old because they're obese.
Right. And when the vitamin D deficiency studies started coming out saying that, 97% of people who passed away from COVID were deficient in vitamin D, they never said, hey, go out and get your vitamin D up, go out in your sun. Matter of fact, they told you to stay indoors and stay away from the sun, which is ironic.
Yeah, stay inside, let your immune system go down. And I don't like that. Sorry, I just had to grab a charger from your laptop.
Nah, it's all good, brother. But that's where I say that I don't feel it's a conspiracy to say that, they benefit from giving you false information.
And then it's like, okay, well, one thing that really bothered me as well is like, it'd be like if maybe this is a poor example because it's not true to this sense, but someone gets shot. Oh, they died of COVID. Like everything was COVID,
There's a guy, the flu disappeared?
Huh?
The flu disappeared?
Yeah, the flu disappeared. And then like, I heard of a guy, I'm not going to say because I don't want anyone that knows me to be like, oh, you just put him out there like that. But there's a guy that I know through a friend. He was 300 pounds, very obese man, 50-something years. I think he was like 55 years old. He died. He got COVID and died. And everyone's like, COVID killed him. And I said, you sure about that? Yeah. I said, he had diabetes, heart disease, and COVID. So are you sure he couldn't have fought all? Because I had COVID. And, I lost my sense of smell and taste. But guess what? If I didn't know I had COVID and get tested, I would have went to work if I had a 9 to 5 because I felt like it was just like a flu.
Yeah.
Like I was fine.
That's what most people were doing, was just showing up to work. I mean, I worked at a hospital.
Right.
And we were never tested. Everybody was just walking in every single day. I remember my coworker, this is an office that's probably a little bit bigger than this room here. And, he just came in one morning and was like, hey, guess what? And I was like, what? He's like, my wife got COVID. And I'm thinking like, well, why the fuck are you here? And he was just like, oh, because nobody told me I couldn't come to work.
I'd be like, well, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
That's exactly what I did. I walked over to my boss and I was like, hey, listen, such and such has COVID. I'm either going to go home or he got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and you got to wipe down everything he's touched.
Yeah, but it was weird because you would think like we would be working at like a convenience store or warehouse. This was a hospital. Yeah. Like this was this should have been the fort. He should have not even been able to walk into this building.
Yeah.
And mind you, he just walked right on by. And this is the unfortunate part, Justin. And I know, just like you said, that big dude, you knew a few of his situations, but I know of a few situations of people that have passed away from COVID without obesity and without these things.
And so do I. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of have this feeling of like, I don't want to, come off as a prick and not care that people have lost people.
Exactly.
But I can't, people die for walking across the street. You get killed. You fucking ran over by a car. Yes. The flu. I mean, the people are dying all the time. And for me to not leave my house because people are dying, that's irrational. Because I got to leave my house all the time and people are dying all over the fucking place.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, like, I don't want to be a prick either. I understand, like, some people, they're dying. My godfather got pneumonia from it in both lungs. He was in the hospital. I was so scared he was going to pass away. And he's in decent health. But I can't let it scare me. I can't let it take away my life. Like, oh, I'm not going to go outside. Because guess what? 3 towns over, someone just got shot 9 times last week. Does that mean I'm not going to go outside because I'm scared I'm going to get shot? No.
Yeah. See, it's irrational. And that's what I try to tell people. It's, listen, when you have like the governors of New York basically, stuffing French fries in their mouth and saying, vaccine, good. Go get vaccine. But they're not saying, hey, our gyms are open up now so you guys can go and actually, get your immune system up or loosen. It's just a very weird vibe to me. It's not conspiracy theory. It seems like common sense to me.
Yeah. No, it's like if you went into a gym and you're going to hire a trainer to train you, right, to lose fat. You're a big guy. I want to get healthy. I want to get shredded. And you see someone that looks like, Jim or myself is pretty good shape. And then you see a guy that's like, 250 pounds of fat, but he's a trainer. He went to the school. Yeah. He has a shirt that says trainer. No offense to that guy, but who are you going to go to? Who are you going to trust with your health?
Right.
Absolutely. It's like, it's common sense. So like you said, when the governor or whoever's stuffing their face with French fries, oh, this is, be healthy. Don't stay inside. Build your immune. Like, why would I take your advice?
Go get your free vaccine. I was disgusted. I think it was Cuomo, but he was just like, and then he just kept saying the word vaccination over vaccination.
The NFL draft. Did you watch it? Are you a fan of the NFL?
No, I am a fan of the NFL, but I have. We could get into it after, so you can finish your point. But I have this weird divorce from sports after COVID. But go ahead. What happened at the draft?
No, well, Rich Eisen.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
I don't know if it was
ESPN.
In his contract or something, man, but he said vaccinated fans like 600 times, dude. I was about to turn it off. I'm like, oh my God. Like, we fucking get it. He's like, we're here with all the vaccinated fans. The vaccinated fans are cheering. I'm like, they're just fucking fans, dude.
Why the emphasis on the vaccination?
Once or twice, I get it.
Right. And it definitely was in his contract. And if it wasn't in his, it was in ESPN's contract to be able to air.
Yeah.
And it's just disgusting behavior because if this is actually like backed by science, backed by and like you said, I don't want to ostracize anybody who chose to get the vaccination.
Yeah, no.
That's perfectly fantastic.
That's your choice.
Yeah, but to me, it's just like if you have to force me to kind of do these things, it's not conspiracy theory anymore. It's kind of common sense. You're forcing me to do this for a reason.
Yeah.
Is it the noble reason, which is, hey, we want to get the country back to normal? Or is it weird other Bill
you want to
Gates
control us? That's how I feel. Like, I'll say it. That's how I feel. But
so I should be allowed to choose. So should everybody else.
Yeah, and no one should be upset about it. Because,
dude.
Like I said, my brother's vaccinated. I'm not. Do we fight about that? No, we're still fucking brothers. We could care less. Like,
right.
It's just like I say about people that die from obesity, right? Oh, it's a disorder. It's a disease. No, it's a choice. But you get mad at me when I emphasize that choice, but you don't get mad at me when I say that you're choosing to get a vaccine.
Right.
Like, pick your battle. Like, which one is it?
And they love to blend the words too. They like to get what you say and twist it into some weird schematic. Yeah. I don't know about you, but this past year I've gotten into the weirdest arguments with people I've ever gotten into in my life. But like I walk into it and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Like I'm not even. I haven't because I'm not a people person, man. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I keep to myself. I'm a hermit.
Yeah, smart guy.
Because it's just the way I grew up. Like how it was. I just don't trust anyone. So I'm just like, like I'd rather not even conversate.
I think the weirdest one I bumped into, and it's happened more often than not, is that either vice versa or me, people feel that either having their mask on, it makes me feel a certain way. Like whether they have it or not on, makes me feel like I trust them anymore. And vice versa. If I don't have a mask, they feel like they trust me less. And it's weird because it's like that awkward altercation where it's like, do you want to shake my hand? Is that okay? And then I'm like, yeah, man, what's up? Like, I shake your hand. Let's go. Let's roll.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest convo I've been on where they're like, are you cool? Like with me wearing this? Is this okay? And I'm just like, look, I invited you to my house. Like you're in my home. You can keep it on if you want, but I'm not too worried about if you got the shit on or not.
Yeah. And I would respect anyone's choice. Like, I have friends, and they just had a baby and then, I wanted to go see the baby. Come see the baby. Just, make sure can you wear a mask when you hold the baby? Absolutely. Absolutely, dude. Like,
yeah, sure.
Course. And then it's like you said, it's always like, it's like a weird confrontation at some places though, because you're right. Because I went and got a new vehicle like 3 weeks ago, and when I was in the dealership, it's like half of them had masks on, half didn't. And the guy I was working with did, and I was like, and I said, is it cool if I take my mask off? Because some places it's required, So I'm like, whatever, I don't care. It's not a big deal to me. Because again, Hakuna Matata, like I don't care. You want me to wear a mask? Whatever, sure, I'll put it on.
Right.
And it was weird, because I'm like, can I take it off? Is it okay? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, okay.
I'm weirded out by the middle ground situations. Like you said, you go to a place and half are wearing them, half are not.
Yeah.
But then you kind of wonder the logic here, where it's like, well, what are you doing better that they're doing that's helping you? Because if they're not masked, you're just about as fucked as they are. And with your mask, it just doesn't matter. Yeah. The logic behind this sometimes, like the weird one of like, hey, wear your mask when you're walking through the restaurant, but when you sit at your table, take it off.
Yeah. Like what?
What are we doing here?
I don't get it.
Are we back to rational sense, or are we just making shit up? I don't know. And then these businesses just make shit up just because they want to be open. They don't even give a fuck if you have a mask on.
Yeah,
if you
they don't give a shit.
Well, we're doing whatever they say. Just come in and spend money with us because a lot of people lost their their income and stuff like that. So
that's why I'm nervous about flying in a few weeks. I'm like, do I need a mask? Do I have to wear it on the plane? They're like, well, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear it. I'm like, yeah, but I had COVID already, so I already have the antibodies that are in the shot that you're actually getting.
Right.
But then they're like, well, now there's a new variant of it. I'm like, oh, okay. Of course.
You're heading to LA, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it is over there. I know it's much tighter over there. I went to Austin a few weeks ago, and I had to wear the mask the whole time on the plane so that everybody didn't.
Oh, you did have to?
Accident. Yeah, the whole time. But I'll tell you what. As soon as I got to Texas in the airport, thing came off.
Texas don't give a shit. I know that. I have friends in
Texas. Yeah, it was
Texas
beautiful.
Don't give a shit.
I haven't been to Florida. I have a few buddies who went, but Texas was incredible. I think there was one shop that was like, hey, you need to have the mask, and everybody else was just glorious and friendly people. And my wife and I actually thinking about going out there, man. I think, I don't know anything about LA or California. I've never been over there, but I do know that Massachusetts is a blue state, one of those similar minded states. And it's just getting really weird around here and really, it's a welfare state. Massachusetts, literally, it's a welfare state. And it's like a lot of people are not doing shit. A lot of people are not working. A lot of people are not trying to, better the state, the city. They're starting to basically, gentrify Worcester, which is the area that I in. So a lot of people that could barely get by are being forced out of the city because they brought in the Boston Red Sox's AAA team here into the town. So they got a brand new stadium. But they didn't give a shit about the business owners around the area who are losing money and losing clients. And then, like I said, property has gone up around that area. So now the people that were barely hanging on after COVID and after, now are just being kicked out of the city, which is it's just getting weird. There's signs on the wall for forced vaccination for employment and for schools, which is just mind-boggling.
That's what I'm worried about. The schools.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I'm in the position now where as soon as that starts to come around, my kids are being pulled out of school. That's not a secret for anybody who listens to the show.
Yeah, I don't want them.
That's about as far as I go.
Yeah,
I got my beefs with public school. Not as strict as many people do. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, there's liberal learning happening there and all this stuff," and which I believe to a certain extent, but not enough to take my kids away from being around a diverse bunch of individuals. That's what I think public schools is you learn how to be with different cultures, different people, different. So I don't want to take that away. Even if that means that they're doing some liberal learning, because I know whatever I want them to know, I could teach at home.
Yeah, exactly.
But this forced vaccination thing, man.
But that's a different story.
Yeah, we're not doing that. I was hearing stories about out in California where they were letting kids as young as 12 give consent. So they would go to the school and say, "Hey, I'm the school nurse. Do you want to earn a brownie? If you want to earn a brownie, you could get this shot. And don't worry about mom and dad. They don't matter here in this situation."
I would freak,
I would own Worcester.
Yeah, seriously. Everything's pretty open here, but
but my whole point of that is that listen, I'm not a big, let's go protest in front of City Hall guy, or like, listen, I vote with my feet, I vote with my money. I understand how states work. I understand how the economy works. And listen, if I go to a place like Texas, who has much more, is much more responsible of my civil rights as a person and my family's rights, then I just move. I just go down there and move
Yeah.
and spend my money in that economy and support that system. I don't need to cry about Massachusetts like some people do. I don't need to go political and say blue, red, this, that, this.
You know,
Just go somewhere where I'm accepted.
I think it's like the older people, you know, they're set in their ways. And, you know, I've come across some strange older people that really tick me off. But because, you know, there's a lot that are, you know, they're racist. They don't believe in the COVID vaccines or the COVID at all, and this and that. And that stuff drives me nuts. Like,
Yeah.
it just drives me crazy.
It's just a crazy world, man. Like, you can agree with so many people on so many things, disagree on so many things, but the fact that there's not like one truth.
Where I grew up in West Philly was the opposite. You know, I was the only white kid in my school, but everyone treated me great. You know?
Yeah.
Everyone treated me good. So my whole life, I've always grown up to know everyone's the same. We're just all people. What do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
And I just, I started seeing when I moved out of where I lived and seeing how other people would treat other people based on who they were, their nationality, whatever, the color of skin, rich, poor. And I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with this world?
We're just weird. I say it to my wife all the time. We're just weird monkeys that are like, you know how lab rats don't know they're inside of the maze when they're getting inside. We're just monkeys in this simulation, and we have no idea what to do. We're freaking terrible.
Blows my mind, dude. Like, even now, like a big thing now that more people are coming out, you know, they're gay or they're trans, and people are like, oh, I can't believe this person's, you know, bisexual or they're getting a sex. I'm like, who fucking cares? What does that do to you? What did that do to you? You know, like, just that shit gets me fired up.
It's just easier to talk shit now than it is to actually back something or stand by something.
Yeah, see, I'm not, dude. Hey, I got a big mouth, so if I see someone being treated wrong, I'll say something. I don't fucking care. Like,
yeah. No, you gotta be. I'm all about the human aspect. Like, I think when humans are left to decide, they choose the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But with
humans,
you know,
there it is.
Humans,
we're all fucking humans. Like,
but whenever the incentive gets skewed for a certain tribe or for a certain human or for a certain species, I think that's when things get weird. And the incentive is usually fiat, like money, right? Just stabbing people in the back to do weird things. Or in politics, it's the power, it's the control of making somebody who is 350 pounds take a selfie with a vaccinated photo to feel that they're actually doing something for themselves, when in turn, they're not doing shit.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they're playing to a political side, to a political party. And whenever we follow up as humans, a little while ago, you were talking about your brothers, and what came back was the love, the human aspect.
Yeah,
they didn't need, love. We need to do that. We need to go back to being humans. But as for now, I think we failed the simulation. I think we're just
some of us at least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There are good people, luckily, you know, like you and I. There are good people out there, but
absolutely, it's when the incentives get skewed, man. Yeah. When somebody either wants power or money, they just start behaving weird, and then it fucks everything up. That's my opinion, man. So I know you more, Justin, inside the inside the regular traditional weight room and stuff like that. But you were talking to me yesterday about your son doing jujitsu, and you practice. What do you practice?
Wing Chun.
Wing Chun. You want to talk to me a little bit more about that? Because I didn't know that you were doing anything other than just weight training.
Yeah, so like fitness, honestly, a lot of people were like, what? When I tell them this, but like if I had a list of top 5, fitness is 5 or 6. It's not even my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, hit me with the list.
Well, I love the aspect of helping individuals, but it's not my favorite thing. I mean, my first number one favorite thing to do is game. I'm a gamer. It's like number one. Number 2, wrestling. Anything wrestling, you know, watch wrestling, whatever, anything. We have a wrestling podcast, my brother and I, anything like that. Number 3, probably it's close. It's a tie, but I'd say movies. You know, I'm a movie buff. My son is, he's 6 years old, right? He's only 6. And I know most grown men who can't sit through the 4-hour Snyder cut of the Justice League. And he didn't say a word they didn't say a word for 4 hours except, like, and he would just anyone talks at my house while we're watching a movie, he'll shut up. And he's like,
nice.
And then football, NFL / playing. I play, you know, once a week with a group of guys. And then probably weight training. It's down there, you know?
Interesting.
The weight training and my martial arts is probably like 5. So my son does jujitsu. His first competition's actually this Saturday. So we're pretty stoked about that. But I was supposed to do this with you yesterday, and they sprung a surprise. They were like, "Oh, we want to have like a just like a training for the kids to learn points. It's like a point system, a takedown, 2 points. So his coach wanted to put him in the best position to get the most points to win.
Nice.
So we had to do that and kind of set my day back, which is fine.
That's all good. Yeah, man. Family first.
And then, I do Wing Chun. So all my life, I've like always gravitated towards martial arts, but not American martial arts. No offense to Americans. I don't like Americanized karate. I don't. I understand a lot of people love it. I just feel like it's very, again, I might offend some people, but I feel like it's very, look at me, be a soldier. Don't move. Do this, do that. You're very controlling. Whereas like, I feel like Chinese martial arts and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, stuff like that is more like, this is an energy, a flow. We do this together. It's a system,
Love that.
And I feel like karate's get in line, soldier. Do it like this. Don't talk.
Yeah. Never thought about it, but it sounds like that's the case.
If you really look, because we took my son to a karate class before, and I pulled him right out after the first class because of that. And I was like, wow, they're like breeding him to be like a German Shepherd. I was like, I don't like that. Yeah.
And you're paying for it.
And I'm paying for you to treat my son like a dog. Took him to jiu-jitsu. His coach is amazing. He's very hands-on. He's like teaches them. Everyone's together. They can ask questions. Karate, put your hand down. Like, what? Like,
I'm so glad you brought that up. So, all right, I'm looking to get my daughter. It was jiu-jitsu specifically, but I didn't have a reason. Is there anything that parents or me in my situation could look out for when it comes to like a proper jiu-jitsu place for my child? Even for us adults, because I'm interested in jiu-jitsu.
Well, see, like with my Wing Chun, it's all at home right now. My teacher's actually located in California, but it's all online type stuff. He gives me, videos, whatever, because it's just not a popular martial art. And I'll get back to the jiu-jitsu. I didn't forget, but it's. Have you ever heard of IP Man, Yip Man?
I have. I'm going to be one of the few that's never watched them.
That's fine. I get you. But so like I watch all those films. I read the subtitles. My son loves them, which is crazy.
Nice.
He'll sit there and he'll be like, read it to me. And I'll read them what they're saying. And so like IP Man, watching him, the way he worked. I don't know if you can see, but I have the dummy back there. Wing Chun.
Nice.
Dummy.
Yeah, I see it.
And the way he worked it and stuff, I was like, wow, like I would love to be able to do that. Just something about it looks so relaxing and just calming. So I found a way to do it. So I can't really speak on for adults because I didn't start doing it till now. But it's actually my son is the reason I started doing it. So we took him to jiu-jitsu when he was like just turned 5, and he was so nervous. And he was like, I don't know, I'm kind of scared, Dad. I'm like, just try it, buddy. Because here's something with your kids, right? I played football my whole life. Son didn't want to play football. I said, okay, you don't have to. I see parents say, no, you have to try this. I did this. You're going to do. No, you find what they like. I put him in karate. I didn't like the way he was treated. So I was like, do you like this? He's like, no. I said, all right, pulled him out. He tried soccer, played for a year. He's like, I don't really like that. Pulled him out. We watched John Wick together. And I know some people are going, oh my God, your son was only like 5. Why are you watching John Wick? Look, I grew up watching rated R movies. I turned out perfectly fine. As long as there's sex scenes, I'll let my kid watch whatever. He knows the difference. He doesn't curse. He doesn't say bad words. He knows what's fake and what's real. I think it's an important lesson to teach your kids.
I agree.
But so he's watching John Wick and he's doing like those jujitsu, like arm bars and like he's like, I want to do that. And I was like, what? Shoot the guns? And he's like, no. He's like, the way he fights. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, Google. I'm like, how does John Wick fight? And it's like Keanu Reeves, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I was like, let's find a school. And my wife's like, there's a school right up the road. So I took him. And the first day he was there, I mean, the teacher said, he's really got to be around 6 years old for this. But if he can pay attention and chill and like really like sit and pay attention, I'll let him join. I'll make an exception. I was like, cool. Like, cause I'm not like bragging on my son, but I'm like, my son's very chill kid. He listens. He's not bad. He doesn't act up. I'm like, sure. He sat there Indian style the whole time, watched, didn't say a word, really cool. And he was like, teacher's like, wow, like he's amazing. He's like, yes, he can join. So the next class, my son went in and I just watched the teacher. His name's Aaron Morris. He's a great teacher. Dude, the way he was with the kids, it's just so patient. And he would go over the same thing 500 times. And I'm like, that level of patience. And it's, we're 2 years now almost, and he's still the same way with the kids. That's what you guys should look out for, as the teacher. Okay. Does the teacher care, or does he just, does he just want your money and just teach them?
Gotcha.
Because other than that, I mean, anywhere you walk in, the teacher's going to have a black belt. So you're going to assume he knows jujitsu.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you'd really look out for aside from how the teacher treats the kids, you know? You can tell if someone cares.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we're looking to do with her, whatever. I'm trying to do the same thing too.
Yeah.
I don't know, just try to mix it up a little bit. I've gone less, ever since COVID and the gym shut down, I've just navigated towards just kettlebelling. I've been doing a lot of kettlebell workouts and stuff like that from home. And
you gotta have
that's
fun.
been great. Absolutely. But that's the thing. I've been doing kettlebells now for so long that now I want to do something like physical. I was thinking boxing, but jiu-jitsu seems like it's right up my alley.
Yeah. What happened was my son went, right? And he's like, I'm real scared, real nervous. And then he went and did it. And he just did it and kept doing it. And like 3 weeks went by of him consistently doing it 3 times a week. And I was like, you know what? I sat down to myself and I'm like, I've always wanted to learn Wing Chun, but I've always been too nervous to do it. I was like, and here's my son who's 5 and he's not scared. I was like, I should stop being a bitch, suck it up and do it. So it's always, I feel like it's always someone else that has to like push me in a way, you know, like I said with my mother-in-law. And I saw my son, and believe it or not, you know, he taught me something. 5 years old. What do you know? Like he taught me that don't be afraid, just try it. So that's dope. Started doing Wing Chun, and I'm like a year into it now, year and a half. I've already gotten my first certification, so we'll just keep working now.
Yeah. Now, is it true that when you go into like a martial arts, it's not just a physical aspect, you gain mental clarity? Is that?
Dude, it's so mental. Yeah. A saying in Wing Chun is slow is fast. And everyone's like, well, what do you mean? Well, the slower you slow down and think about like the movements you're doing, faster you'll start doing them. It all starts in your head. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try something. Like I said, jiu-jitsu, but maybe explore something different. Yeah, I've never even heard that until you brought it up.
You got to try different things. Yeah. Well, mine was because I always watched, IP men growing up and stuff like that, Donnie Yen, and I'm like, wow, it's like I wish I could move like that. And now, I can't move like him, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
I need to just keep my brain distracted. I'm one of those guys that when I go bullish on something and super in, I'm in it.
Yeah,
so I'm looking for that new thing.
I'm committed. Once I'm in it, like you're getting 1,000%. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and your brother are stepping into the podcast game, or you have been for a little while now.
Yeah.
How you liking that type of medium, podcasting?
It's so fun. It's so fun, man. We're 28 episodes in. It's been about a year and a half. We started last March. 2020 March. So I guess it's been about a year almost. March, something like that. I don't know. We're 28 weeks in, whatever. So I guess it hasn't been a year yet, but it feels like forever.
Yeah. No, it does. Yeah, man. It's a milestone when you get to like that 50th episode.
Yeah, we don't have that many listeners. It's like we'd be lucky to get like 10. And everyone's like, well, why do you still do it? And we're like, it's just fun. It's our time together. We shoot the shit about wrestling, say how we feel. It's just fun,
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. Yeah, I think, I make very little, if anything, for the show. And to me, it's always just the pleasure of having the conversation with people that maybe like yourself that I won't talk to all the time, but that I know have a lot of like that could inspire me stuff going on. So it's like a little selfish treat where it's like, I don't get no money for this, but the payment comes in having these fantastic conversations.
Yeah.
Right. And then the networking and the aspect of it and just humans, just talking to humans. That's why I always tell everybody, and I told you when we started, I can't script it. It's human nuance here.
Yeah.
We could fuck up. I've had guests come on completely drunk and wiped out. I've had guests high as hell. I've had guests that have just been just calm and quiet. But I think there's something to being the fly on the wall and just being like, wow, they just have a fucking fantastic conversation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound robotic and scripted, right?
Yeah, like
that's big to me.
That's how we do it. I mean, we take little bullet points of what happened that week in wrestling, but we just go. We just talk, man. Sometimes they're 30 minutes. Sometimes they're an hour and a half. We just talk.
Exactly, man. I love podcasting as a whole, as a medium. I think it's the last, uncensored media, right? Meaning that, you could censor videos and they're hard to send over the internet, but audio files are usually pretty small. And even if they were to censor you like on Anchor or something like that, you could still share that audio file very easily.
Yeah.
So I'm very passionate in a world where everybody's getting canceled, everybody's getting censored. You can't find real truth because the truth gets shut down and removed. So I'm really bullish on podcasting, and I like to push anybody who even attempts to podcast to do it because, like you said, maybe you get 10 listeners, but those are 10 people that really care what you have to say.
Yeah, yeah. And look, if we did it for the next 10 years and got one listener, we're still going to do it because it's just our time together, we just have fun together. Wrestling is a passion we share. because I've said it a million times in like some of my posts and stuff, but like wrestling for us isn't the same as it is for most people. You know, they're like, oh, wrestling, two guys in underwear fighting each other. It's like I have a stand up with a Rock over here, the cutout. You've seen it before.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have a Rock, a stand up. You're so weird. And I'm like, you don't understand why wrestling's like that for us. It's because when we were kids, right, and we're getting all this physical abuse every day, there's 2 hours on Monday night where we're watching wrestling, and there's these stories. We're sitting next to each other, my brothers and I, and we forget what's going on. We forget we're being abused. We forget that we're laughing, we're smiling. It's The Rock, we're doing the moves on each other. And then when it's over, it's right back. You're back to reality. This is a shitty life you live. But then wrestling's on again. And it's always, it's been like our getaway, our escape. So we just carry that our whole lives. It helps us bond too, my brother.
Yeah.
We get together, we watch the pay-per-views, we order food,
It makes a lot more sense now, for sure, when you connected it like that. I didn't doubt liking wrestling because I grew up liking wrestling. What I would ask you is the characters just don't seem to be as great as they were when, at least I was growing up. I mean, I'm 35. I'm sure you're around that
I'm
same
31.
age. So, see, I was there for like the
Rock, Austin.
A little bit before that. I would even go back as like the Doink the Clown, the Papa Changos, and those type of situations. But I don't know. Maybe I lost touch. The characters don't seem to be as good. Would you agree, or is that
in WWE?
Okay.
If anyone, I don't know if you've heard of AEW. If you've watched,
no, I haven't.
But there's a wrestling promotion been around for about almost 2 years now. It's called AEW. It started by the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a diehard wrestling fan. Dude, this is the best wrestling I've seen in a long time. Takes me back to the Attitude Era. Austin, The Rock, Eddie Guerrero, like some of my favorites,
Are they doing anything different, or is it just the characters are that good in that?
The characters are telling the stories that hooked you when you were young, and they have some old faces in there. Like actually last week, there's this new guy. I don't want to get too wrestling on you. There's this new guy. His name's Andrade, and he brings in he's like, oh, I'm bringing in my manager. He just signed with AEW. It's Chavo Guerrero. And I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, I grew up watching him and Eddie, and now he's here on AEW. A lot of guys, the Big Show. He jumped ship
still
over
around?
there. Yeah. Edge and Christian. Edge is still in WWE, but Christian, he came over. They just roped in CM Punk. I mean,
they're doing good things.
They're doing good things. Yeah, that's what wrestling is. Now we still watch WWE for the sake of not just the podcast, but I guess there's always that hope it'll get better. It's the kid inside of us,
Yeah, see, the only difference I had growing up was the nights where I would have to go between, WCW Nitro and whatever was happening, Monday Night Raw, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And flipping back and forth to make sure we didn't miss anything. But a little bit after the NWO days, I think that's when I started to,
just pure WWE.
Shy away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the whole WWE.
Right. Yeah.
Then WCW kind of got ate up by the WWF at the time, which is WWE.
Right.
But then it started to get weird for me. I was like, all right, these stories are not as big or as passionate. I still remember like the I don't know the exact name, but I remember like that Shawn Michaels Bret Hart WrestleMania with like the 60-minute Iron Man match or whatever. Like those stories where it was like, Shawn Michaels came in from the top of the building.
Oh, yeah.
And this was like his childhood dream. And he trained with his childhood trainer and he made it this far. And now he has to go against the, the excellence of execution, right? That's what Bret Hart used to say.
Right.
Like these stories were just like, holy shit. These are epic stories.
That didn't stop though until like, I know you kind of got out of it, but it picked back up. It didn't stop. Yeah, it didn't stop until like around 2015-ish. Is when it started going downhill. Like now it'll be like the story will last 3 weeks. And that's what my brother and I cover on the podcast. We're like, how do you expect us to care? It's so hot down here. Sorry.
It's all good, man.
How do you expect us to care, about this match at this pay-per-view when it's only been 3 weeks, when we're used to like The Rock and Stone Cold have built this shit for 6 months, Like I can't wait to see them get their hands on each other.
That's what it was. It was a longer time out.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
it was
and there was always like the good surprises. Yeah, they had the. I don't. Do they still have like the weird matches, like ladder matches?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I always love a good old ladder match. But maybe I was the one who just kind of went away from it. But to me, it was like these characters just don't absorb me like the Stone Colds of the world did, or those guys. But
I mean, AEW, if you ever check it out. Right,
that's the way to go. It seems like the new kid on the block is kicking ass. Is what it sounds like.
It's kicking ass for sure.
Nah, that's
Sure.
super dope, man. So I do have tattoos here. Do you want to cover tattoos, man?
Yeah,
I
I'll
just came
cover
from
anything,
Austin.
man. I love
Yeah,
talking.
cool, man. So what was your first tattoo? And like me, did you just become addicted after?
Oh gosh, my first tattoo is a stupid one of my name on my arm. That's so stupid. I was 15 years old. I go in the tattoo shop with my dad. He's all he's all fucked up, strung out. He's like, get whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 15. I'm like, I'm gonna look so cool in school with my tattoo. Every bitch is gonna be like, look at that tattoo on him, so hot.
With his name.
You're 15. You're stupid. All the dudes are gonna be like, you're the coolest. So I'm like, the guy's like, you want a skull? You want this? I'm like, my name's Justin. Put my name.
Oh shit!
The guy puts it big as shit. My name, huge. I go into school, my one sleeve's rolled up like this. I'm sitting in school, and they're just like, "You gonna forget your name?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm like, this is backfire." And so I started wearing like longer shirts. So like, you gonna forget your name, dude? And then after that, I got it covered up, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, I just want more and more and more.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's some skin. I'm like
I love it.
75% covered now from head to toe.
Yeah, it's like when you customize your phone. You could get to customize your sleeve, your body.
And some people are like, that's going to look so bad when you're 80. And I'm like, like your skin's going to look like shit either way, right? At least mine's decorated.
That's true. Except Jim. Jim seems to have the magic potion.
Yeah, well, he goes back and gets them touched up and stuff. He's smart.
That's what he did. Yeah. He got that full-on sleeve, that full body sleeve, right? That's what he got going on.
Who, Jim?
It's a Jim. Yeah, he got like the head and the neck and everything done.
Yeah, he's from here down, like covered all the way to his toes, man.
Is that due to martial arts or something?
Jim's a black belt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why he got the body sleeve. It actually means something? Or?
So his left side is fire, and I could be mixing the sides up, but his left side, I think, is the fire and earth, and the right side is water, and the middle is it's called nothingness in Japanese, but it's it's like lotuses, things. It's got some things for his children or whatever, but it's incredible. He designed to suit a certain way. Yeah, it's not just random. And when I was getting mine, and when I was younger, it was random. I was like, I'll take. I like those. Put that on me. I like that. Put that on me. And over the last 3 years, I've been getting it covered up with stuff I actually like to tell a story. So I'm pretty much have everything I actually like now that I actually want. Yeah.
I love it. It's therapeutic in a sense to being able to.
Very.
Yeah, to be able to customize yourself is what I like to say, which sounds very weird, but to be able to cast out a vivid experience for people. A lot of people can see your life scars, your the lessons you've learned, the things you believe in, and they could just take one peek like a canvas. It's pretty cool.
It's like I have the Joker all over me. I have 7 different variations of the Joker. I just got my hand done a few weeks ago to be like the Jared Leto one. He's like this in the movie, and everyone's dope. Man, you really love the Joker, right? And I'm like, yeah, I always have. Batman's my favorite superhero, but I've always gravitated towards the bad guy, towards the Joker. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I think it's because he's like me. And they're like, what? He's like, I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm not going to kill you. I'm like, because he doesn't give a fuck. And I was like, that's why I always liked him, because he just doesn't care.
I did always wonder that. Yeah, you've been a big Joker advocate for a while.
If you remember from The Dark Knight, and he burns the money, and he's like, I don't care about the money. And Alfred said some people just like to watch the world burn. I don't watch the world burn, but he doesn't fucking care. There's nothing you have. It's like me, right? Like I say, if you don't, you hate on me, or something, I don't care. You have nothing on me. I don't care.
That's awesome. That's a good correlation. I think we should always have these little figures in our heads that we could kind of model, especially not, like you said, not watching the world burn, but just have this idea of we take shit too serious. Why not laugh every now and then? The Joker. Yeah.
Like the Joker. Cool. And every tattoo I have now means something, luckily. So there's not,
which is good. Yeah. I think I agree with you. I've got a bunch of stupid ones. I had my very first one was like soldier or something like that on my arm.
Yeah,
which is very dumb. I thought I was like a thug.
Yeah, you thought you were the shit. Yeah,
and I was not the shit. But getting it covered up and more meaning. That's why I try to tell my oldest. She just turned 18 and she wants to get one. And it's like, that's all the time in the world. Just think about it more. Because I guarantee you, if your first one, you're probably going to cover up.
Yep.
Most likely.
I took my brother, my 19-year-old brother, I took him for his his 19th birthday just recently. I took him for his first time. So I want to get a tattoo so bad. So I want the same one you have, the Greek flag, because we're Greek. I said, all right. I said, are you sure? Yeah, you got it right here. I'm like, all right. You probably won't cover that one up. Luckily, it's probably one we'll keep because, you know, it's like a brothers thing. We're all going to have it.
Yeah.
But
how did he do his first time with the needle?
He said it hurt. Like, he wasn't too squirmy, but I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they all hurt, dude. When people ask me, like, which ones hurt? I'm like, they all hurt. It's needles going in your skin.
And a fast pace.
Yeah, they all hurt. But like you said, it's like therapy. Like, I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if I could like AirPod it up or just zone out with some music or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the best for sure.
Yeah.
But also I've had like the last one I went to Austin a few weeks ago. I got a tattoo down there. The conversation I had with the tattoo artist was fantastic as well. So
I went to school with mine for 10 years. Like, well, I've known him for 10 years. We went to school together for like 5, but we've had this relationship. So whenever I sit down there and get tattooed, it's like, you know, it's like buddies. We're just shooting the shit. Before you know it, it's done.
That's super dope. Yeah. I got to get somebody who I'd like to go to. I don't have a go-to. I've had to move around because either they move or I move. Or some weird shit like that.
We did some ones on me when I was younger, but he's like, nah, he's really good now. So he's like, come in, let's fix them up. That's my work. You're walking around.
I was about to say, so you were his guinea pig for a while.
Big time. But I've been in there the last 3 months. I've been in there 4 or 5 times. I mean, we've probably done like 15 hours, 16 hours in the last 3-4 months.
And one session? Oh, okay.
Because we're just touching little things. The longest I ever sat was 14 hours. I got 2 half sleeves sitting there like that.
Holy shit. That's how you must have walked around for weeks.
Yeah, right. It was on fire. I looked like a T-Rex. I'm like, it hurt so bad. Yeah.
That's to say, yeah. I mean, I've always had a lot of fat on my arm there too. But when I got this sleeve done, or half a sleeve done, it just my arm swelled up so much by the time he got to like the elbow part that I definitely got to go back and get some touching up and stuff.
Yeah,
that shit was brutal. Man.
I can say that when people say, because I have, you know, my legs, my thighs, my arms, my hands, my back, and everyone's like, well, what hurt like the most? I have my ribs done, my hips, the worst ever. I'll tell you right now, anyone that wants to know, around your nipples. I got my whole chest done, and it goes like the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. There and on the ass. I got that.
Yeah.
Ass. Oh my God. Shit. I'm telling you, we keep it real here. I'm telling you.
Well, the nipple is because it's sensitive. The ass is what, the fat? What's that?
Dude. I'm sitting there with my cousin, and my cousin and I grew up together. We're like best friends. And he's like, man, you have so many tattoos now. He said, we just got done at the movies, right? We went and saw the Lorax, the Dr. Seuss. We're young and dumb. He's like, I bet you won't get a Lorax tattooed on your ass with the mustache. You won't get that. And I was like, I looked him dead in the eye. I said, pay for it. And he said, I'll pay for it. I picked up my phone, called my buddy. I said, I'm going to come to your house right now. My cousin's going to give you $100. You're going to tattoo a Lorax on my ass. And he's like,
holy shit.
He didn't even say, oh, your ass. He said, what's a Lorax? And I was like, I'll bring you a picture. He said, come over. We get there, we start doing it. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I asked, there's a couple girls that have their ass tattooed. They're like, oh no, it doesn't hurt. I'm like, I don't know what kind of magical ass you have.
Exactly.
It hurt. Like, I don't know.
Well, women are different, dude. Listen, I always tell my wife, y'all push kids out.
Dude, like, my cousin, all these years later, he's still like, did you do anything to that yet? I'm like, what do you want me to do with it? Like, put like a forest around it or something? What do you want?
You either got to cover it up or put the background.
Like, I don't know, dude. Just forget it's there. I forget.
That's funny. Now anybody who's listening knows you got a Lorax.
There's no shame. I keep it real.
Yeah. There's
no shame.
Love it. How do you absorb information, Justin? I know that's a very random question, but I'm always interested in, some people podcast it, some people read physical books. Some people just know people that have the information such as Jim, those type of variety.
Visually.
Visually is your way to learn?
I'm a visual learner, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, and when it comes to like training, nutrition, things like that, I have Jim. I'm not gonna lie. I go to Jim for all that. I'll text them, be like, yo, like diet, this, that, what do I do? And, luckily, I'm lucky to have that relationship where he'll be like, do this, do that. Like, and visual though. Yeah, very visual learner. And you can tell me to sit there and read it, but I got to see it acted out to really absorb it. Like you're saying. Yeah.
Gotcha. What's the coolest thing, if you can think about it, that you've learned lately?
Probably the Wing Chun.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm about to go check it out as soon as I'm done.
Yeah, it's just really, man, now that I know so much like around the dummy, like I can move around the dummy very quick, and it's just a good feeling, Like,
Yeah.
it looks easy, and then you tell someone, okay, go ahead, your turn. And they're just like, wait, well, how did you do your hands like that? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, it's,
Yeah.
I think that's the most fun I've had.
I think that's a lot. That why people end up in a lot of bullshit situations, because they think everything is easy until they try it themselves.
Yeah, until they try. Yeah, and the thing like with Wing Chun, another good thing, I think everyone should know a martial art, to be honest. And it's for the sake of protecting yourself in the way the world is nowadays. Like, again, I keep it real. I'm not gonna lie. I have my permit to carry a gun with me. I did.
Same here. Yep.
I don't want to use it because I know I'm going to jail. Because that's just the way the world is. They're gonna be like, "Oh no, you pulled the gun, then you're going to jail." Especially, look at me, you know.
Right.
I mean, sadly, that's the way the world is. Look at me. I'm tattooed like this. They're gonna assume that I'm the bad guy, and so I'd rather know a martial art where I can subdue the person and, you know, put them in a position where it's like, okay, now you're gonna get out of here, or it's gonna get worse.
Yeah,
you know? Versus,
I'd rather have both.
See, now I still carry my gun because my son. If anyone tries to like, dude, my wife thinks I'm crazy. I'm very overprotective, and I might be a little crazy, but dude, I've seen too many news story kids getting snatched and stuff.
Yes, sir.
If you try and snatch my son, you're getting shot. That's the way it is.
Yeah, you get. There's a few situations where if you try to fuck with my family, you're probably gonna get shot.
Yeah, like forget the martial arts. I'm pulling my gun out and I'm blowing your head off. I don't care. Like, that's my son. I don't care about anything more than that in the entire world. I'm
with you, dude. I grew up in here, once again, here in Massachusetts, very liberal. So people don't, endorse guns. People don't think it's scary and all that stuff. So I grew up in that environment. And then everything flipped for me, where it was like, all right, well, now I'm in charge of being in the position where I have to hold everybody down in this family, right?
Yeah.
But the reason, that's what made me switch to license to carry. But I was having a conversation with actually the guy who did the pieces back there. He's an artist here in town. Mr. Boom, and he was telling me about the situation. He was like, man, there's a famous park here where they do car shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, I went to Green Hill Park and they had a car show and I was with my son, but I felt like I missed the whole experience. I felt like I was so paranoid because, there was people around me that looked shady and that I wasn't able to be there mentally with my son. And what I told him right off the rip, go get a gun, good sir.
Yeah.
Go get a gun. Yeah. It's not because the gun makes the situation, necessarily better.
No.
But that feeling of being helpless around your kid would immediately disappear when you know that in your waistband you have the ability to drop some thunder.
Yes, and that's it. Like, look, I hate the saying guns kill people.
Yeah.
It's your choice. I get it. If you don't want a gun, I completely get it. Don't say that the guns. Look, there's someone pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
They don't pull themselves. And we could go on about it all day and people can argue back and forth. But again, I'll be like, whatever, that's your choice. I don't care. But I'm I'm a safety nut when it comes to my family,
Yeah.
Like, look, I may only have to go to LA once a year or once every other year. I haven't been there in like 3 years, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But I have cameras all over my house outside. I got 3 cameras out there. I got 3 dogs. Everyone's like, I can't believe I have 3 dogs. But, well, one, I love animals. I rescued all 3 of them.
Nice.
But again, someone knocks on my door. I have a Dutch Shepherd. She's huge. She's and everyone's like, okay, there she is. Like, so imagine if you're trying to break in and you hear 3 dogs, you're going to be like, I'll try a different house.
Exactly.
And then I have guns as well in the house, locked up, of course, but I can get to them if I need them.
That's what I was going to say, too. I think a lot of people have the misconception that, that gun owners are not safe.
Yeah.
And I would argue that the gun community is probably one of the safest communities I've ever been a part of.
They think we're like these wild drug kingpins and we just have Glocks laying around the house. Like, your kids are right next to the Glock eating cereal. Like, one of those finger things. It's locked in there. Like,
right. And the funny thing is when people think that, I guess it could happen if you have an old gun, but that, like in the movies, if you were to drop your gun, it's just going to fire off.
Oh my gosh.
It's a grenade, and as soon as it hits contact, it blows up, and it's like...
Well, like you said, any good gun owner knows what they're doing. So any good gun owner is cleaning their guns at least once every few months, at least twice a year, once every 6 months.
And the finger discipline. A lot of people just keep forgetting about just having proper finger discipline and stuff. But
finger off the trigger unless you're going to pull it.
Exactly. We talk about the immediate stuff, which is, our family and being that. Yeah. But I also think about a bigger scale as things start to get weird, in the White House and start to get all over the place. It's like, look, in history, the side that has handed over the guns has fared very bad.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's come to extinction, whether it comes to genocide, whatever it may be, the reason we are able to bear guns as, civilians in this great country is to be able to defend against tyranny. So I didn't, I grew up in Massachusetts, so nobody ever explained this stuff to me. But I think a lot of people are under the assumption that because the president is our president, that they can't do tyrannical bullshit. Right. And then I had a gun enthusiast come onto the show, and he was just trying to tell me, he's like, look, the reason I carry a gun is because that's my protection to tell that guy up there at the White House to say, hey, man, you work for me, good sir. It's not the other way around. And I think that's important for people to understand, because if they were to successfully remove every gun from this country, from every homeowner, we're fucked, dude. I mean, that opens up the avenue for anybody, whether it's an FBI, a CIA, or just the government, the police themselves, to be able to walk up in your property and tell you what the fuck is going to go down.
Yeah, we're just sick people,
Sick people, exactly.
Again, and good to know a martial art, at least.
True. And sick people don't necessarily have to be like obvious sick, right? Sometimes you just have to get hungry to the point where you do something bad.
Yeah.
Right.
And by sick, I don't mean like they have like a mental disorder. So I'm saying like sick, like they're just twisted people that want to hurt people because that's just how they are.
Or hungry, right? Like what I mean in the obvious example is, look, if your kid is starving, your refrigerator has nothing, and the neighbor has all the turkey in the world, all the meat in the world in their fridge. That doesn't make you crazy. It just makes you a survivalist. You're trying to survive at that point.
Oh, I know it from growing up. It's how I grew up. We used to go in the supermarket, and my father would say, "Open it up, eat it, leave the package there." We thought it was normal. We're opening shit up, we're eating it and putting it down real quick. And we thought it was normal. And now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, that's so fucked up. I should have never did that. But you didn't know.
But it was survival.
You just didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So you also have to be able to defend your family from that, from somebody who's just not doing as well as you're doing in this life.
I'd rather be over prepared. Yeah. With the cameras, the dogs,
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm having a hard time. Not a hard time. She's with the gun being in the house, but I want my wife also as well, because to me it's just, it's ladies out here, ladies, you got to protect yourself out here, man. These guys are knuckleheads out here. And there's nothing wrong with you being, like you said, martial arts trained or whatever. It's that physically, anatomy wise, you might not be able to conquer the dude, man.
Maybe you can, but maybe you can't. It's
most likely you're not going to be able to. Yeah. Ladies, get that gun. Get it the right way.
My wife likes, she has nothing against guns. She would carry a gun. She's just lazy. Because I'm like, go get your. Yeah. But she'll go to the track and run at 6 a.m. And I'm like, what are you doing? Ladies. There's weirdos. And she's like, you just worry too much. And I'm like, it happens.
That's kind of true too. But yeah, you'd rather be safe than sorry in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Justin, man, we could talk forever. I do like this one question that I like to ask everybody, because it helps me learn, and it's something that everybody deals with. How do you overcome fear? Or what's your method for it?
Oh, jeez.
That's the sign-off question.
Fear of anything?
Yeah, just whenever you get that bubbly feeling that, like we were talking about earlier, I don't want to go do this shit. Feeling
like
that
the
fear.
Anxiety and stuff.
Yeah, they're interchangeable. Fear and anxiety. Yeah. How do you overcome that feeling of I shouldn't do that?
Couple things. One, meditation. I pay for this yearly app on my phone. It's meditation. It seems silly to people, but it really works. It really does. It really helps me calm my mind. Bigger picture too. Number two, I'm like, take the LA trip, for example. Yes, I'm scared because I don't like leaving my family, but the bigger picture is it always turns out good. It always ends up in a good time. I always come home, and it always works out better in the long run that I went and did it instead of missing out. And then just, to remember, that stuff from before that I went to LA last time. It was so much fun. And I came home, I think if you focus on the bigger picture as far as fear, you can overcome it. Because
I love that answer.
You got to weigh out what can happen, what's the worst that can happen? It's like you see your favorite celebrity, walking across the restaurant, and you're like, oh my God, if I saw The Rock, right? It's like, I really want to go ask him, just if I saw him, I wouldn't even ask him for a picture. I would just want to thank him for the years of saving my life, of making me forget that abuse and stuff. And I'd be like, the fear of going up to him would definitely take over. But what's the worst he could say? No. Okay. You got to think about it like that. What's the worst that can happen? You got to weigh the options, right?
Yeah, it's similar to what you just said. A few weeks ago, my therapist basically kind of hinted at the same thing. Like, hey, you things always end up better than you think they're gonna end up. Right. And then I mixed that with Seneca, who said, I believe it was Seneca, but we often suffer more in imagination than in reality.
Yes.
I probably butchered that, but that's another one too. Right. Yeah, because I self-sabotage in my mind all the time. And like I said, too. Shit just works out after when you do it.
I do. Just know that, like what you said earlier about the food thing, it's the same for me with everything. Like I'm just like you. Like I actually have a lot in common. Like in my mind all the time, it's like the fear. Like, oh my God, what if I just lose my job tomorrow? It's like, but wait, why? Why the fuck would I just lose my job?
Yeah. And why am I thinking this?
Yeah, it's like the reality is I'm good at my job. What do you mean lose your job? It's like,
right. That's another thing, being hard on ourselves for our work.
We are. We're too hard on ourselves. And
that's insane.
Yeah.
Justin, please let the listeners know where they can find you and your brother's podcast. Any gym related, anywhere you want them to go, man, where they can find out more about you, follow you, and get that value.
You can follow me on Instagram at JKamb, JKAMB. I don't really do Facebook because it's more like personal, family, friends.
Sure.
So find me on Instagram, and you can find my brother and I's podcast on Instagram at wrestling_bros, BRUHS. And on TikTok, we're really active, having some fun on TikTok at _wrestling_bros on TikTok because bros was taken. So next one was bros.
Yeah. I'm going to get all those links in the show notes for sure. Justin, this has been such an honor, such a pleasure. I know we shouldn't, put heroes anywhere, but you're definitely one of my personal heroes.
I appreciate that so much.
Man. I love your ambition. I love your dedication to being a great dad and a great husband.
I appreciate it.
And I love your transparency, man. Since the very beginning, when I reached out to you on Twitter for some advice, you didn't have to give it to me, and you did. Just like you didn't have to come on the show, and you did. I appreciate you, man, and everything you've done for me personally, man.
Always will, man. I appreciate that so much, and that's it. That's my goal. Just help people, and people like you make it fucking worth it, man. Like, you're gonna make me upset. I just really appreciate it. I do. It means a lot.
Awesome, man.
It means a lot.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna leave the all the notes so you can find Justin and all the work he's doing. He's a great follower, especially if you guys are trying to get fit and trying to, bounce back and go, get the right advice and not all the noise that's out there. Go check out Justin. Until next week, guys. Later.